Alright, so Black Red Aristocrats, this is pretty close to the list, that I played, in the MCQ, 2 weekends ago, or a weekend ago, whenever it was, on Arena. The big difference is I've slotted in some Rix Maadis. This card smooths out some of your early land drops when you're flooding or screwing. It also provides a draw 3 in the mid to late game, which is nice. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, I need to try and remember to do that. I usually do, but sometimes I miss it. Notably, the other difference is I've cut the Heartfires from the main deck here, or from the 75 altogether, because Heartfire was a card that, while the reach is nice in the mid to late game, in the early game too often, you just want as many creatures as possible, to whether it's Fuel Priest or just be aggressive with Judith. So I've cut the 2 copies of Heartfire to fill in an 11th 1-drop, and then a 4th copy of Judith. So let's dive on into some matches and see how this goes. This Black-Red Aristocrats deck, and then Naya Feather and Green-Red Sarkin that we're going to be playing as the last 2 decks today, are the 3 different decks that I'm trying kind of picking between for the MCQ and Nerd Rage event next weekend. I don't think this deck is by any means busted or significantly better or worse than anything else of the good decks in the format. I think this deck has nice aggressive draws though, and the play patterns that it produces are ones that I enjoy playing, which is generally what I look for in a format. What do you think our track will be now? What does that mean? Huh? I should probably just bottom that. It's got a solid curve here. Yeah, Goblin Fire. So, one of the things that I changed in this build especially is that you'll notice I cut the Heartfires and I don't have any other removal spells in my main deck. So, Goblin Firebrand is an aggressive threat that also lets us... It's an aggressive threat that also lets us be a little bit interactive when we want to be interactive. Goblin Firebrand is very good with both Mayhem Devil and Judith. It's not uncommon to get into board states where you sacrifice your Goblin Firebrand to get to deal 1 point of damage to 3 different things, or 3 points of damage to 1 thing. If they want to trade their 2 creatures for this, I'm okay with that, I think. And if they don't trade, this just keeps getting bigger. I think I want to just play a 3/3. Because this means if I draw a land, my Fanatical Firebrand does 3 next turn, potentially. We have a Chupacabra. Or a Contempt. Contempt is better than Chupacabra for us. It doesn't leave a body behind. Golden Queen, sure.
Your demise won't be quick. Right, don't flatter yourself. I won't forgive this.
It does say any target. What's the confusion, Chewy? Huh? Yeah, so the original printing of Goblin Firebrand was printed before the Planeswalker redirect rule changed. So, the way Planeswalkers and direct damage used to work, you used to deal damage to your opponent and then say, I'm redirecting this to your Planeswalker, which was confusing and messy, so they stopped doing that. So we're gonna kill this. We'll kill both of these. We'll attack them for 6. We'll make another thing. This is the person who was asking why Firebrand earlier. I submit Exhibit A.
Are painfully sloppy.
No. I think this game's gonna go on for a little bit longer. I don't think letting them draw cards is a good idea here. That's a little unfortunate. Really wanted to draw a land there. This is my preferred build of red-black. Well, this is me testing a couple of cards in what's close to my preferred build of red-black, yeah. Hey, Brady boy. Well, thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. Opponent thoroughly choked on green mana here. Get like Vraska's Contempted here and cry silently. So we're gonna get back a Jade Light Ranger and then gain infinite life and we'll die. Yeah, you have to discard with Rix Maadi. The upside to having to discard with Rix Maadi is that, nice, no removal. The upside to having to discard with Rix Maadi is that, if you don't have a card in your hand, it's just a 2/2 that draws a card, which is nice. Have a sword, Brady boy. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, so Wild Growth Walker matchup. Lava Coils are great. I think I just trimmed Dreadhorde Butcher. On the play, I think I'm gonna swap Footlight Fiend out, but on the draw, I'm gonna cut this card because it's pretty mediocre on the draw. Rekindling Phoenix is like an okay means of pulling up here. I do just cut those. Seems fine. Alright, let's do it. Tibalt's an especially good main deck card because not only does it hate on random life gain that our aggressive deck doesn't want to see, but Tibalt provides 3 cards or 3 permanents in 1 card for Bontu to sacrifice to draw a bunch, which is nice. Just Bontu can sacrifice any permanent type. His hand's great. Gutterbones on 1, Lava Coil or Wild Growth Walker on 2. Play a Judith or a Tibalt on 3. Glitterbones, glitterbones, click, 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 glitterbones, glitterbones, do-do-do. Even if they don't play a Wild Growth Walker on 2, yeah, just playing a Jade Light. I'm probably gonna Lava Coil here just to use my mana for the turn. Just been chilling on the favorite leagues every day. Best streaming service subscription ever. How would you rate all the standard rotations you've played in Arena, comparing this to Reclamation Standard, etc.? That's a good question. I think I would put this one as probably the second best. I think I enjoy it more than last season, but less than the first season right after rotation. I've been playing Chandra in the sideboard. I played Chandra on the board. She's fine. Chandra is good in the aggressive matchups because they have a hard time killing her and she draws you a lot of removal. I think Tibalt's very good in a lot of main decks. Yeah, 10 out of 10 agree on that. Teferi keeping down the Reclamation decks is nice. Yep. You should play more Pokemon Go. What's going on, Dan? Thanks for the 13 buds. The glowing red, no. It empowers me, chat. It gives me life. There's like 4x buddy candy going on right now in Pokemon Go or something like that, right? I might live to regret that. I think I'm supposed to hold on to this. So they don't really have anything that good to get back here. They're gonna like get back my Tibalt. I think I'm just doing this as a discard, draw 3. Yikes. One Bontu, please. I'm really kind of surprised they left this card in against us. Their sideboard for this matchup must be pretty lacking if this is a card they left in against our aggro deck that like has creatures it wants to sacrifice. I'm just gonna attack everything here because I don't want them to get another 1/1. To celebrate, what's your favorite word in the English language and why is it tempo? Thanks for the 13 months, Brady boy. I appreciate it. I explicitly didn't play this because I didn't want them to kill it. So I'll play a land and then play this post-combat. To someone who talked about Chandra earlier, I've experimented with Chandra, Experimental Frenzy, and Rekindling Phoenix in this slot in my sideboard. And I think I like Rekindling Phoenix the best of the 3, just because not only is it the most consistent, but it's also like pretty aggressive. Like in these mid-range matchups, having this flyer is like very, very good. It's another card that like makes their post-board Lava Coils really get stressed out. Yeah, it's super resilient, and like our deck has a ton of things that like you have to Lava Coil or you have to Vraska's Contempt or I get value. So like playing another one of that type of effect runs those types of things thin for the opponent. Right, opponent flooded there a little bit. I guess we also drew a good number of lands. Yay, gems. Up to 42,000 gold, which is nice. The next set drops, we'll be able to buy like 50 packs with that. Yeah, your opening hands just look so much better with more 2-drops. I agree Rekindling Phoenix is super powerful, but especially game 1, you tend to want to be more proactive, and Rekindling Phoenix definitely is not a very proactive card. I really felt like with Bontus and Rekindling Phoenix, I had too much top end in my aggro deck. Would Eidolon of Rhetoric be a good answer to Frenzy and Standard? Yeah, that'd be a sweet answer. Yes, that is such a fantastic way to describe Rix Maadi. It's like an unsung hero. The games it wins for you, you tend not to be aware that it won you the game. Like, it's frequently the difference between, like, missing a land drop or, like, flooding, and then in the late game, it just, like, comes down and draws 3, which is really good. Huh? I think Grim Innate's fine. I think it's worse than Firebrand and Footlight Fiend. It's close with Footlight Fiend. It's possible that Grim Innate is better than Footlight Fiend. I kind of give the nod to Footlight Fiend because it's easier to cast. So, like, Footlight Fiend casts off of swamps and mountains, so you can always cast it on turn 1, basically, unless you have a Dragonskull Summit, which is nice. Hey, Fibblethip for President. Thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I don't know. I don't have a shortage of things to sacrifice things to. I don't think it's super straightforward. They have a Tyrant Scorn here. I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And this is the type of position where you're like, we're flooding a little bit, but like, Bontu's just such an absurd draw off the top. Haven't seen Justin. Justin was in here earlier today. His username is the King of Hoaglandia. I love that Judith lets Gutterbones attack into Belhaunt. It's just so good. It's like, would you like to block? You would? Alright. Hey, Carlson, coming in hot with the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month. What does that make you? I'm the jester. I'm the one dancing for your entertainment. That's unfortunate. Really needed to draw a threat that turn. If I just like had any creature in play that could attack this, we'd be in a good spot. Threat. Threat. Alright. So you're saying there's a chance.
Skip to the good part.
My prowess is on home your prowess.
Brick, 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 brick. I don't know. I think this game's going pretty well considering the fact that we've drawn like 7 lands in 12 cards. Like, consider that for a moment, right? Like, this is a game where like we've had over 50% land draws in our aggro deck, and like we're still in this game against their planeswalkers. Tier 1 sub lets you add decks to the deck queue for just $10, Root Jackson. This is it. Hopefully they're having a connection issue and they don't just have a variety of good cards here. Nope, they just have a variety of good cards. That's unfortunate. So I hit this, and then this attacks here, and then I play second Judith and kill this. Don't have a Tyrant Scorn. 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 Hey, Green Sun on 1. Thank you, Green Sun on 1. That's so sad. Your username is banned in Modern. Thanks for keeping me around. I appreciate it.
I still have much to learn.
I am not going to sit this one. You need to take a time out.
Leaving Narset in play is a liability if I draw Bontu. It also turns off Rix Maadi. So I think taking the time to take Narset out of play there is worthwhile. I think we're probably done at this point. We were in the game having drawn over half lands for a little bit, but the second Planeswalker likely makes it too much. And you draw like Bontu this turn. I mean, I guess if they draw a couple of bricks here. If these are blanks and their next two cards are blanks, maybe. Well, I'm not sure what your other username is, but if it's like your current username and it doesn't have camel casing to distinguish which words start where, there's a good chance a lot of streamers are going to mess it up at a glance. Oh, were you unable to recover your hacked account? Alright, so if we draw a Firebrand here, we get to kill them. Or we get to kill Teferi. Not that we don't get to kill. We're nowhere close to killing them, but we might get to kill Teferi by drawing a Firebrand.
No more game. I'm getting too old for this.
Hey, Unbanned Twin. Thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. Hey, look. Another land. I'm not your buddy, friend. Thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate it. It's worth playing out every land we draw here. Don't hold them to bluff, because if we draw a Bontu, I want as many lands in play as possible. Alright, if we hit a Judith or a Mayhem Devil, we can kill the Teferi here and continue whittling down their board a little bit. This is where the magic happens.
No time for a break.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
I am not going to sit this one out.
What if you draw another land, right? What about another land? Phoenix is fine. I think I want a couple of shocks. It finishes off 5 mana Teferi well. It kills hero, it kills thief if they have that card. Some of these decks have Cry in the board, and I like trimming Judith against Cry. My opponent does have a non-zero amount of non-creature spells, but a lot of their impactful things are creatures, so I think I'm going to leave this on the sideboard for now. I think they also tend to have enough blockers that this card's not great. Although maybe this is better than Judith. Judith is pretty good though. Let's try this. Morning, Roxer. My morning's going swell. How's Black-Red against Monarch from what you played? So it's about a coin flip. If you want to read about this deck and get my thoughts on it, I posted a full primer on Cool Stuff Inc. last week for it. So the fact that they left God-Eternal says to me that they have either a Thief of Sanity or they have another discard spell. Actually, I'm not going back to writing every week, but I did happen to write an article this week and last week that you can both find up on Cool Stuff Inc. This week's article that published today talked about Modern Horizon spoilers. Ooh, that's exciting. Mayhem Devil plus Bontu can turn your lands into damages. Pew pew, pew pew pew. Where they play Bellhaunt and I cry? No Bellhaunt. Alright, do you have another Tyrant Scorn? So brutal. This is why having Trader Gator in your opener feels loose. You're like, need to... Firebrand is so good! Build your own Fork Bolt. You're right, you're right. We said this format's like modern, therefore we have Thoughtseize. Love it. Hey, double Mayhem Devil plus Bontu. Like, yeah, I've definitely like killed someone from like 16 before with double Devil Bontu. You're just like, and fireball you. All right, they have Cry. That is, that's good to know. Their hands probably got like a bunch of expensive stuff in it at the moment. The fact that they have Cry of the Canarium makes me inclined to board out Judith for the third game. Just having 3 drops that die to this card tends to not be good. Maybe I'll bring in the Duresses. We'll reconsider everything that's on the board after this. Lava Coil perhaps could be okay too. It'll be a little bit interactive. You got it, bud. Alright, hoping to draw. Oh, are we just tucking the devil? Deal. Ooh, that's a good one. This is another just like individually powerful card that's just like good against Cry of the Canarium. Always kill the Teferi, chat. Unless you are literally killing them with your attack guaranteed, kill the Teferi. So, I don't think I want to risk holding this in my hand, even with the Mayhem Devil on top of my deck. Just gonna go ahead and kill this. Trader Gator has Menace, so we have 2 lethal threats next turn. Oh, you know, I hadn't played a land yet this turn. I should have sacrificed 1 more land. I usually like to keep 4 lands after I Bontu. Sometimes you get a little bit more aggressive, but... So, Cry. Makes me want to cut Judy. So, and I know this probably sounds weird. I actually like Legion Warboss against Cry. And I know that Cry cleans up Legion Warboss and his cohorts. But the thing that's notable about Legion Warboss in the face of Cry is that it is a single card that makes them need to Cry 1-for-1 in a lot of situations, which is really nice for us. Mirage Tank, thanks for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And it rebuilds on its own post-Cry as well. Cut Butcher on the draw. Nah, I think the opponent is more controlling, which means Butcher's good on the play or the draw, I think. How much do I play around Cry now? As much as I'm able to. So I'm going to go double Firebrand here. Attack for 4. And then next turn, I can Devil trade both Firebrands for the Bellhaunt. Hit them for 3. Hey, Volpert. Thanks for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. You did miss Mono Black this morning. One of the nice things about Dreadhorde Butcher, too, is that it's a card that plays around Cry, because it grows up to be a real boy pretty quickly. Yeah, that's true, too. So if we fade ways for them to exile this, we're in an okay spot. Give a removal spell here. Yep. So we get to put them to 14 at least, and we've got Gutterbones, so we're a little bit ahead, but their deck definitely has better top decks in it from this position, so I think they're probably a favorite because they're still at 14. Marisa Move, thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Swing and a miss. All right, that's good for us. That is a good draw because it lets me kill the Narset. Yeah, that's a good observation too. Oath makes 3 mana Teferi a better draw than it otherwise would be. Because they get to play Teferi, bounce the Oath, etc. Brick by brick, chat. Brick by brick. Their deck definitely has more lands in it than ours. Survey says... Hey, we flooded out and died in the first game, okay? Turnabout's fair game. We flooded out and died in the first game. Yep. Yep. Alright. 3 drops are great.
My friend is here to help you.
How does deck do versus red deck? It's about a coin flip.
I was bored anyway.
Oh, deck. Oh, deck. Why are you so good to me, deck? Why I don't know what I did to deserve you, but I appreciate you, Rix Maadi. The red matchup feels close. There's play on both sides. If they have a fast Frenzy that's good, they win. If you have a fast Bontu, you usually win. This card is really good, chat. Like, really good. This denies the life gain from this Othakaya, and I don't really care about taking 2. Oh, Tibalt, your glowing red no. It sustains me. I'm not really a big lore buff when it comes to Magic, but I'll definitely watch the thing on Netflix. Mr. Napper, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back.
I've done the hero thing.
Alright, I'm going to board the same way we boarded last time. Footlight and Judy are both pretty medium against Cry. We'll bring in Rekindling Phoenix and Duress and a couple of Warboss. That's pretty clean. How well does this deck deal to Super Friends decks? So, one, at least on Arena in my experience, like things like Jeskai Friends have mostly fallen off. 2, I think this deck's pretty reasonable against that deck even when it was popular. Not only do we have a lot of 1-mana creatures, but we also have haste creatures that can like run down Teferi and aren't great to bounce. My biggest comment on the Magic the Gathering on Netflix is at least the Grand Prix budget went to something useful, I guess. At least we're getting something nice even if we don't have GP coverage. Yeah, you can find videos of me playing Orzhov Aristocrats and Esper Aristocrats, I think Mardu, on my website, my YouTube channel. The Greater Aura, thank you for the 16 months. Double God-Eternal openers, like, not stellar, but my opponent's also playing a Thought Erasure deck, so there's a good chance they were going to take one of these away. 1 drop is the perfect draw here. Wow. I'm gonna get, like, cried here and be a little bit sad that I didn't spot check with Duress, but I think it's right to just curve out here. Maybe it's right to play Priest on 2, because I care less if this dies than if Dreadhorde Butcher dies. Yeah, I think I was supposed to Priest on 2, maybe. Yeah. I think the plan is just play through Kaya's Wrath. I was at GPKC, there was a feature match area, and it was literally just a roped off area with nothing going on. It seems silly. Yep. Yep, it is. That's because it seems silly because it is silly.
Interesting technique.
I guess I play this to get the Kaya's Wrath out of their hand.
Meditate and prepare.
I mean, the Magic subreddit seems to hate anything that's reasonable or popular. That's why they don't like this stream. Like a red source. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted for Christmas. Thank you. I guess if they have a land here, they could Othakaya the bird and then Teferi bounce the egg. If we hit the land, I'll probably Bontu down to 3 lands, I think. Yeah, the one big thing you have to realize about the way online culture tends to work, and this is just true of most things, probably off the internet too, is that people who are upset about a thing tend to be much louder than people who are okay with something. Like, when people are okay with something, they just, like, don't comment on it. Whereas people who are upset and dislike a thing tend to rabble more.
I've got time.
And draw step Thought Erasure. It's fine. I got 2 good cards.
I suppose that's how it was meant to happen.
As someone who has worked in the food industry and had surveys at the bottom of receipts, yes.
I can no longer stand by and watch. This might be a bad idea.
I'm gonna get rid of 1 this time since I have another one in my hand. Magic standard format goes between 5 and 8 sets. So we currently have 7 sets that are legal. So we'll go up to an 8th set, and then when a 9th set would be introduced, we rotate down to 5. If you ever forget that, this handy URL. Where's this? There you go. Rotation. What'sinstandard.com is really useful.
Don't worry, I got this.
Thank you, Marty. I think I'm gonna play this ditch a Bontu. If they draw a Thought Erasure, I'm a little bit sad, but I think it's right to churn through. How many baby Tefts? That is the 3rd baby Teft. Baby Teft do 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 do. Baby Teft do 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 do. Baby Teft do 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 do. Baby Teft.
Let's try
Do
this.
do 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 do. Do 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 do. If they don't have another Cry or Kaya's Wrath here, we might be okay. I'm doing this before I attack because I don't want them to gain life from Othakaya. Notably, I am going to wait until after I attack to activate this, though, because this way, if they have an instant speed sweeper from this, they don't get to kill my 1/1.
I'll just go torture someone else.
Okay, little bit punished for not making a token, but I think it's statistically correct to do that. The fact that they have Elder Spelling against me feels a little bit weird, but to each their own. Would really like to draw a land this turn so I can God-Eternal Bontu. Perfect. And I'm only gonna ditch 1 land here because I'd like to Rix Maadi. Bontu is so good at converting resources for us. Yeah, this is an aggressive deck that gets to draw a lot of cards. Bontu converting resources for you is just very incredibly powerful. Rix Maadi's also been excellent. Agree with that. And Trader Gator would like to go back into my deck, please. Thank you. I mean, like, what? My opponents threw 25 cards to their deck, and we're just, like, kind of going toe-to-toe with them, right? Yep. I'm sure they have Kaya's Wraths in their deck right now.
Trick for this.
They had one earlier. Cry doesn't do it though. There's a Bontu on top of my deck. Yeah, they're dead to the Warboss, but this is way sweeter. The cheese stands alone, chat. God-Eternal Bontu stands alone. How are you doing, folks? Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody wherever you're out in the world. Thanks for dropping by here today. My name is Jeff Hoagland. If you're a new viewer, I'm a full-time streamer and content producer on Twitch. I focus primarily on Magic. We usually spend 30, 40, sometimes even 50 hours a week playing constructed Magic here. We play a ton of different decks. So you get a lot of variety in what you see. As always, love to give a shout out to folks like A Tree is Best Tree, A-Tree is Best Tree, some kind of username. Subs like that are the people that keep me employed, so thanks to all of them for keeping me around. I'd also like to plug a couple of my sponsors here really quick. Chewy would love to help you get thousands of different pet supplies that you know and love automatically shipped to your house on a routine schedule. Using my link bit.ly/Chewy, you can save 30% on your first auto ship order. You get that set up to send every week, every other week, every month, whatever is convenient for you. As you know, you need recurring things from them. InkedGaming.com will love to help you customize your gaming experience using code Jeff12. You can save 12% on custom playmats, mouse pads, binders, and bags with them. You can upload your own custom artwork or choose from the wide range of custom artwork that they already have up there. Of course, the Vitamin String Quartet as well. They create unique instrumental string arrangements of everything from Zelda to Zeppelin, and they would love to underscore your next gaming session. You can find them streaming now on services such as Spotify and Apple Music. Of course, I'd also like to welcome everyone out there to Hoagland. You know, there's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now, and I appreciate all of y'all choosing to spend part of your Wednesday here with us. Hope you're having a fantastic middle of your week. 7 for the cheese. Trader Gator is the cheese. She stands alone. There can be only one. Real decks have curves, chat. Real decks have curves. And this is a hand that could potentially just like slam a turn 4 Trader Gator, which is sweet. All right, please have 1 or 2 toughness. Please have 1 or 2 toughness. Drat. So, I think I just do this. Since I have these other Judiths in my hand. Because this is going to kill. So, if this would have only had 1 or 2 points of toughness, we'd have killed their entire board here. But unfortunately, we can't. This makes 2 mana, and it's going to draw me a card. So, we'll pick the Gutterbones back up here. And then, next turn, we'll be able to go land Judith, make them sacrifice again, which is nice. I am card. I'm gonna get Spyglass here. Yep. And even though I drew another Gutterbones here, I'm gonna elect to sacrifice this other Judith again, because I would like to deal 2 damage to this Karn, so I can't draw another artifact here.
This will not. You are only hurting yourself.
I can't believe there's a mono-colored control deck that's good. Well, good is a loose definition. So, do I use my 2 mana efficiently here and pick this back up, or do I deploy this? I think I pick this back up. Yeah, I agree. Not having a sideboard's a pretty big drawback in best of 3. So even if they plus this, I'm gonna get to play Judy plus Firebrand and then Forked Bolt the Karn, deal 2 damage to him. If they don't play a creature, my priest can just attack it on the back of Judith, and then we'll be able to throw Judith away to God-Eternal Bontu here in a minute. Alright, so that blocker unfortunately means that I can't quite kill this, or can't attack in to kill this turn. Wait, that's not true, right? This has haste in the priest? No, I could do this, right? Yeah, that's fine. Because if they block Wild Growth Walker here, this will kill this off the Judith trigger. This works out well for us.
And thank you for the lesson.
Yeah, you should go back. If the last time you watched was me being unimpressed with the devil, you've missed a couple of streams. So I'd encourage you to go back and check out some of the other red black aristocrats decks we played if you're interested in this archetype. Definitely done some growing and some learning with it. They named priest with the spyglass, unsurprisingly. Lava Coil's good against the Wild Growth Walker deck. Footlight Fiend's a little bit slow. Dreadhorde Butcher is pretty mediocre on the draw. I'm gonna board in Phoenix as a way to pressure in the air, and I'll leave 1 Footlight Fiend in. I'll probably put this back in on the play. How many ramp creatures does their deck play? Their deck plays a variety of ramp creatures. Do I want Shock? I don't think Warboss is good. Warboss tends to be mediocre in matchups where your opponent's blocking, and if my opponent's playing the Explore package, they have a variety of creatures. Like, I don't always have removal. So, like, it's not just removal that makes Warboss bad. In fact, Warboss is better against removal than he is against blocking creatures on average. I might want these Shocks. 6 ways to kill land worlds on the draw is pretty good. That's true. Some do play Grazer. Some play both. And, like, Shock finishes off of Planeswalkers. So, like, the floor on it is, like, relatively high. No gamble, no future, chat. No gamble, no future. This hand's, like, pretty good with the second land. Yikes, that hog land, always gambling. Deal. Who's got 2 thumbs and concedes in this the next turn? This guy right here. That one will also do. Let's bring the curve down and be more aggressive on the play. I mean, that hand that I kept there had nothing to do with the London Mulligan and everything to do with me keeping a loose hand. It seems pretty reasonable. Well, I was gonna play this, and then we drew that. Hey, Wraithmorn, thanks for the 21 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So, do I pick this up and then play one, or do I play Tibalt? I think I want to play Tibalt. Just like get his little Dorkos pumping out. Yeah, insulate against like Wild Growth Walker into Branch Walker this turn. Moving on up. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Gosh, Sam's so good with his second land. So is this one. Scry me a river, baby. London Mulligan's coming when? July 2nd, that is when. Do 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 do. Yes, flying. This one, and the next one. Next two. Just gonna play my swamps out because I don't really give away what I'm playing and just collect a little bit more info about what our opponent's doing. Yeah, London Mulligan's coming on Core with Core 2020. It's coming everywhere, not just on Arena. Alright, so there's like blue-green thieves, right? Maybe banned. Likely just blue-green thief. Their deck doesn't have that much life gain in it. I think Tibalt's a little slow. You mentioned a couple of times sideboard different than play the draw. What goes into making those decisions? So, like, for instance, Dreadhorde Butcher is kind of like a great poster child for, like, play versus the draw. So, like, there aren't a lot of 1-mana cards and creatures in this format. So, like, this card's a lot more likely to hit your opponent on turn 2 when you're on the play, as opposed to when you're on the draw. So, generally speaking, this card is worse on the draw because it has a harder time getting going. So, like, this is a good example of something that you would trim on the draw in a lot of situations. If you're looking for something from that perspective. Maybe I want Legion Warboss here. I feel like they don't have that much removal, right? And their removal's kind of clunky. I don't think this is a Duress matchup. Thief refers to stealing stuff, so they're blue, green, and Bant. Mass Manipulation and Entrancing Melody are the two cards they primarily play. If we were playing against the if I knew I was playing against the Bant configuration, I would probably leave in my copies of Tibalt, because they tend to play Toll Smear and other ways to gain life like Lyra, but straight blue-green has fewer ways to gain life. And the life that they gain tends to be less. It's like just Hydroid Crisis. Alright. They got a freebie game 1. I got a freebie game 2. How do I get better at sighting? I'm never sure when to switch gears, be more aggressive, or be more controlling post-board. There isn't really a shortcut. There isn't, with these 3 easy tips that the MPL doesn't want you to know, you could be the next great Magic player. They're just repetition, practice. There isn't really a substitute from exhaustive hours of practice. Doing things like you're doing right now are ways that one of the many ways you can get better at sideboarding. One of my best pieces of advice, and this is again goes with the whole practice montage, is one of the ways you can get better at sideboarding is you should think about how you're supposed to be sideboarding when you're not in the middle of a match. So like sit down with your deck list and go, here's the 7 decks I expect to play against this format with some consistency. How do I sideboard against them? Have plans in advance. Don't be making them up in the moment. So like this hand's good, but it doesn't have a red source on 1, which I think makes it a mulligan. Priest of the Forgotten Gods is also like very good in this matchup, so like I'm kind of inclined to mulligan hands that don't have it in the opener. And like I have a lot of spells here, but I'm gonna be choked on my ability to cast them. And then we're just, you know, this is Magic the Gathering, so like immediately just like destroyed for making a good mulligan decision. Just wide eyes, snap keep 7s all the time. Welcome. This is where the magic happens. Now that probably would have been a good example of, yeah, that was just a rancid match, right? Like how many of the billion matches of Magic that have been played were just like that, right? One person doesn't play a land, another person concedes on turn 3, the other person concedes before the game 3 even starts because they mulliganed. How long have I been playing Magic for? I started playing Magic very casually with the release of Odyssey in 2001, but I began Eat, Sleeping, and Breathing Magic with the release of New Phyrexia around 2012. So like that 5 was a great example of a hand that the London Mulligan could possibly help Aether. Imagine that 5 looks at 7 cards and has 2 or 3 lands in it, and like actually gets a chance to play. Imagine this 5 has 2 spells in it, and I get to keep 2 spells, 3 lands, and just actually get to play Magic. Instead, here we are. And games like this are why, unless I really love playing mono red, you won't see me register a stock good deck like mono red even at a big tournament, because things like this happen in every archetype, right? Even the best decks in the format. So like if I'm gonna lose a bunch of matches of Magic to just like things outside of my control playing the best deck, I might as well just play a sweet deck that I like playing, so I'm not gonna win or lose that much more with it. We are getting towards the end of the Aristocrats. Probably this match and maybe one more. Don't spell pierce me, don't spell pierce me, don't spell pierce me, don't spell pierce me, don't spell pierce me.
Until someone gets hurt. My assistants are painfully sloppy.
She's dead, Jim. You've killed her. Yeah, and again, like my little speech there about decks that I play and decks that I wouldn't play, you should not take that to mean if you enjoy playing a stock tier 1 deck that you shouldn't play it. If you like the play patterns of a good deck, play the good deck and enjoy it. What my little mantra there is intended to convey is that you shouldn't play decks that you don't really like without just because you think they're gonna let you win more. I don't know. In my experience interacting with a lot of people who grind tournament Magic, if the goal to win is the only thing that sustains you, you're probably going to end up being kind of miserable a lot of the time. And again, if that doesn't apply to you, that's wonderful. That's good for you, but I choose my deck based on which one has the most triggered abilities. Oh, hippity. Turiki, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And Eat Teach War back from YouTube to keep on supporting. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one. Scale of 1 to dead. Where's this priest at? Ooh, that's a good one, yeah? Until it gets lava coiled, that's a good one. Would like to block. It's not a bad pickup. They have another opt and like a shock. Or like a shock or a shock wizard's lightning. If they have a way to kill the egg afterwards, it would be a little bit sad here. Hey, Sea Fusion, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I assume they have a way. Wow. That attack with no way to kill the egg is real bold. How about if I played a second one? How would that make you feel? Let's bump Esper Hero will do Mox. Thanks for keeping me around. I appreciate the very generous tier 2 resub. Well, they shocked the Rix because they wanted to keep this alive. I kind of think they should have traded and then shocked the egg, though. It's probably the better line overall. Awesome, Fusion. Do I Rix Maadi and just draw a card? I think so. I think I've got enough in play here. It feels bad to turn that into a land, but I think I want to get my body down. They're supposed to be bringing a special queue to Arena. Since you said you're off, try to put my tier 3 dealer's choice. I appreciate you, Rad. You rock. We're gonna use some dealer's choice stuff with the new sets coming up. Hey, it's Valerie. Thanks for the 3 months. Welcome back. I appreciate you keeping me around. Alright, so this is going to shock Priest of the Forgotten Gods, I assume, here. This thing tramples, too, for whatever reason. Woof. At least the birds come back. And I highlighted this earlier too, but when there's 2 birds in your bin, you can see this first one says targeted by elemental. So this can make sure you don't click the wrong one with the second egg. Yeah, why does this 1/3 trample, but the party bus does it? That's such a good question. Would like to draw a Bontu or a removal spell. Just super unbelievably punished for, super punished for not, for binning the Bontu when I did. Or binning the extra Rix Maadi. We're probably dead here. They're drawing 4. Yeah, I assume we're dead here. That's like the Magic experience in a nutshell, right? Mulligan to Oblivion, followed by Flood Out and Die. After a match where, like, we played 3 games that weren't games. That's why when people ask me to evaluate decks, it's like, God, you have to play so many games. Yeah, their deck seems sweet. It'd be nice if we could actually play Magic against it, though. Instead of just, like, not having lands and then flooding out and dying. Everything's sweet when the opponent doesn't interact with it, right? It's okay. We're on the draw, which kind of sucks for Dreadhorde, but, like, Gutterbones into Butcher is, like, one of our best possible starts. Hey, good luck in the rest of your ladder matches today, Fixio. If they deploy a creature onto, we can deploy Priest. If they don't deploy a creature, we can Dreadhorde Butcher. So scale of 1 to dead, I assume this Butcher is dead. How does Naya Feather do against basic mountains? I don't know. We won the other day. One of the things I would really encourage you to break yourself of, unless you've seen me play a deck half a dozen times, my answer to how is this deck against X is basically always going to be, I have no idea. We play a lot of different decks on this stream, and a lot of streamers who are playing a deck for the first or even the second time that give you opinions on what matchups are like, they're just guessing and making stuff up. Main deck cry. Yep. Sometimes they want it more than you. Sometimes they want it more than you. Yeah, Butcher's really good. Listen, in the words of the greatest poet of our generation, sometimes you get magicked out of 2 matches in a row, and then you play your deck that likely never beats a cry into an opponent who's main decking multiple cries. That's just like how it works. It's just how it works. Some days you play Magic, other days Magic plays you. This is going to be the last match with this deck. In fact, let's just move on to the next one. I'm done. To wrap on the Black Red Aristocrats section, sometimes Magic